coffee to the dog, give myself 2 seconds, and basically, oh, I've got to adjust this now, and basically talk about the match and basically prepare ourselves for this. So let me get into the chat first. What are we saying? We're saying what a terrible game. Wavecutter says embarrassing. Yes, it was. Let's get through these chats first. What we were saying. They played happy slap with each other, went down to 10 men. This team is exhausting. Chillet plays, it says, I'm sick of them. It is awful. The whole game we played in first gear. It's the United way. Was the graveyard shift again. Couldn't beat 10 men. Imagine if the red card hadn't have happened. Yeah, I said that as well on stream. Could have been 2 or 3. Let us all off at United. Thanks, mate. Thanks, buddy. 12 it is. Could be worse. Could be just can't. If it was that bad. Just a stat, they didn't have a shot for over 67 minutes, all 3 shots they had. And the thing is about that as well, Dino, is that it flattered us. The stats will flatter us. So look, guys, welcome to the United Devil channel with me, JB. I hope we're doing extremely well. I just can't get this camera angle right tonight. He's peeing me off. Welcome to the channel. First thing I say is, look, get into this amazing community. We are a fantastic community. Just be respectful, get into the chat, be respectful at all times. Look, I hope we're all doing extremely well. But yeah, second thing I'll say is, look, I'm not a dictator of this chat. I implore you tonight. Don't hold back. Right? Do not hold back. Getting your opinions. I want to hear about the manager. I want to hear about the performance. I want to hear about the match, and we can go through the match as well. We can talk through it that we've just seen. I want to know your opinions about the players, about the matches. Joey Scott threatened to block me. This isn't the way you should run a channel. Anybody? Yeah, look. All I'm going to say tonight is, look, let's be easy up tonight, okay? Look, Scott, let's be, look, tonight, let's ease up tonight, okay? Look, all I'm going to say tonight is, like, have a truce tonight, okay? Scott, let's try to refrain from blocking people, but I do get it. Let's get into the football tonight. Look, I really couldn't care less right now about anything else. I think there's probably more important stuff to talk about. And you guys, like, you know, I respect you guys a lot, but I think tonight is a sort of, I think tonight is a watershed moment. Nicky T says Moyes knows our tactics, etc. has the upper hand. Let's go for the game. I'm not going to hold back tonight. I'm not holding back on the coach. And as the thumbnail says, right, disgusting. I think the first thing to say about the match was absolutely disgusting. Everton played how we predicted. Dino says Bruno, our captain, another useless performance. He's probably already in the hotel in front of the fire. Max says Everton were far the better side. I agree with you. The first thing to say, Max, and you know, from the stream, look, as much as I blame these players, I'm going in on the manager tonight. The stats do not do Everton right. If you were a new, look, let's just say you're a fan tonight, or you don't, or you didn't watch the match and you can't afford to watch the match, right? And you basically see, oh, this light's pissing me off. And you basically see those stats, right? And you're going to see those stats, and you're going to think that Everton were lucky. You're going to think that United were unlucky. It just wasn't their day. You know, you watch match of the day, right? And you're going to think that, you know, United were lucky. Sorry, United were unlucky. Now, and the only reason why Everton won was because Pickford pulled out some worldies, which he did, to be fair, and basically United, were the better side. They weren't. Right? Let's be clear on this. United were utter toilet. Right. One of the things I said this week that concerned me, and I don't know, you guys say very similar things to me, is this: game after game after game, we've been getting worse. Liverpool, then the Brighton game, Forest, Spurs, and now this. This for me is the epitome of. And I knew he'd play another game badly, but when you're playing Everton, and this is no disrespect to them, they came out, they were well organised, well drilled. They did everything they did everything that I said and we said on here that they would do. And Amorim had no response to David Moyes. This team had no response to David Moyes. This team could not break a low block. We were talking about this game before the game about Xerxes and Mainu playing, right? There's a fucking reason these players don't get into this team. There's a reason why these players finished 15th last season. Now, I don't blame Amorim for these players, right? You can't teach this shit. You cannot teach these low IQ, these low mentality pricks. I don't care if this video gets banned tonight. Just, you can't blame these players who they've got nothing. They're being managed by, and this is for the first time I'm going to say this, right, is that they're being managed by a guy who's fucking clueless. Like, I don't want this manager sacked, right? I don't need to say I want him out. The guy's going to sack himself. The thumbnail is the reason why the pair of them are on the thumbnail, is because they're going to sack each other, right? Bruno Fernandes can't get sacked, but Amorim's worst decision, and I said this with Ten Hag, Ten Hag, if he backs Rashford, he's going to get sacked. You don't back these players. The team that started today, other than two players, were the team that finished 15th last season. I don't understand why sometimes this fan base just doesn't seem to get that, right? I'm gonna save Amorim for a bit, but I have to go in on these players first of all, because these players are the ones that play the games. Amorim is not going to get off the scot-free. We'll go through the match. We'll go through the players. We'll talk about the players. Get your opinions in there. Chilip says no adapting, no aggression, no intensity. Chilip, I think you're spot on. Look, guys, if you're from a different club, get in with the banter tonight. We're not holding back. I'm not going to hold back. I'm also not going to call for Amorim's head. Just to be clear, I'm not calling for his head because I don't need to. He's going to sack himself. But I think it's more important tonight that we talk about this ahead of time. So let me get through some of your chats first of all. They said play Xerxes. This is why he doesn't get a shot. Xerxes, every header over the bar. I would never play him again. Or Bruno. I wonder if Amorim plays Xerxes to get practice ready for the AFCON. We are a combination of Ten Hag ball and Ollie ball. I wouldn't play Xerxes again. He's terrible. Go JB, no mercy. Everton played loads of low blocks. They did. The double pivot is, I agree. Pivot, oh my god. Bruno couldn't get sacked. He should get dropped. This is not the United way. Amorim only get his game plan across. It's down to the players to put the team to action on the pitch. And look, right. Let's get into it tonight. Look, we've got to have our opinions on this night. So let's go through the game. Everton started off high intensity from the first minute. From the first minute, they were intense. I can't say the P word. Bruno Fernandes, Casemiro. I'm just going to start off by saying this, and I keep on saying this time and time again. Bruno Fernandes is disgusting. I'm done with him. I've said this many times. I am done with this prat. I'm done with him. You know, when I say, and when I say, I ain't saying it, Dino. And when I say I'm done with him, right? I appreciate, right? I appreciate he's playing out of position. I get it, right? I get it. I get Fernandes is being played out of position. But what I expect from this pile of Portuguese shit is I expect a captain's performance. He's a captain. He's not, but he is the captain of this side, right? He is disgraceful. The performances that he puts in for this club are disgusting. The guy wandered round today like he had dementia. The guy was running around today like he had no clue. The guy was running around, didn't know what time of day it was, didn't know who he was, didn't know what was going on. Colin Clark said Bruno has to be gone this summer. I agree with you. Bruno Fernandes today. Look, I can forgive many things, right? I can forgive, and the reason why I'm starting off with him is because he is the captain. I can forgive many things, right? I can forgive Bruno Fernandes is being played out of position and doing it for the team. Sabrit says hi, hello. What I cannot forgive is the lack of captain's performance. Walking around, no tackling. I mean, what is he doing? Like, what is this player doing? He's the captain of this side. Where are the tackles? Where is the leadership? The guy has no idea. I mean, you're a professional football player. You're a professional player. You should be able to be disciplined. Put in a tackle, for fuck's sake, you waste the space. Put in a tackle. I am so done with Bruno Fernandes to the point now where he's tainting the legacy. Fernandes, I don't think he's a legend. I never have. I don't think that Bruno Fernandes, is a legend of this club. He's tainting the legacy. Bruno Fernandes has done some wonderful things at this club, and he deserves praise. He is ruining, and I mean fucking destroying, what he's done over the last 7 years. He is destroying it, right? But what I can't forgive is I cannot forgive that performance as a captain. He is not a captain. Bruno Fernandes is not a captain. Today, we were playing with 10 men, right? So let's start off with the game. Everton started off quickly. We knew how they play. United, I don't know what they do for 2 weeks. I don't know. If this is how United play with 1 game a week, we've got 2 games a week now. How are they going to play this? How are they going to sustain 2 games a week when they can barely? Everspeak says, "Are you really calling out players seriously?" Like, Everspeak, tonight, get in your opinions. I don't mind, right? But I am going to come back, right? Everspeak, who plays on the pitch? Amorim doesn't play. Does Amorim make Bruno play like a twat? No. Does Amorim make Casemiro quicker? No. Does Amorim make Xerxes play like a pile of shit? No. Amorim is not responsible for the performances. Amorim is responsible for a lot. Look, this is not just on the players, by the way. But I'm going in on the players first, because the players play on the pitch. These players are low IQ. They are low mentality. Amorim, you can't make a player intense, right? I can't make you intense. You can't make me intense, right? There is nothing that you can do. It's fucking gone, isn't it? Am I back yet? Fuck's sake. It's just gone, hasn't it? Fuck's sake. Come on. Blocky as fuck, isn't it? So there is nothing that you can do to make these plays intense. There is nothing that you can do to make, oh, I'm going to punch this in the face. Now is not the time. Now is not the time for this to be messed up. Honestly, now is not the time. Right. Fuck's sake. This is winding me up now. This is winding me up. This is winding me up, guys. This is absolutely winding me up. This is just winding me up. It's just fucking winding me up now. What's going on? This is winding me up now. Right, this is winding me up. Right, hopefully I should be back. Hopefully I'm back. Right. Okay. So let's get through some of these chats. It's a game where Shasko and Cunha could have been the game changer. Jerksy, three wins, no games. Playing the target man with no target man is true. Are you really? Look, I'm going to come on to Amorim as well, because Amorim doesn't get away with it. Who had the 10 men? Says Leo. So it says the players today looked disjointed, to be honest. Euro, Mount, Xerxes, Dorgu, they haven't played hardly this season. The starting 11 was vile. From Ruben, absolute joke. We play one game a week. I'm so peed off with the loss, says Manu fan. Let it out, JB. I've got many things to say. Shocking loss, no excuses. I completely agree. Ruben does not make Bruno play like a. Yeah, I agree. What are they doing at Carrington? They get played off the park in Mitcham Common. Who makes it our team outlet is Dorgu. The tactics are crap. He could play Bruno at centre back, but he'll be tripe. JB is in Minecraft mode. Pat Smoke, mate, I don't disagree, Pat. I can't disagree. You're not going to hear defence from me tonight. Okay, Amorim, the guy who plays 5 defenders at home against the mid team, needs out of the hot seat. You play to your play strengths. You don't play to any play strengths, none. But you will let me believe it's the majority of the players. Look, I can tell. Look, let me tell you my position, right? On this team and of this coach, right? So this is a team that finished 15th last season, right? These are the players, ever speak, that have sacked many managers, right? They've played a 4-3-3. So you tell me what are the strengths of these players? You tell me. They've played a 4-3-3 under how many coaches? Luke Shaw was sacked, and Luke Shaw tonight was dog shit. Luke Shaw has, how many coaches have these players sacked? They've played a 4-3-3. They've played different versions of 4-3-3 and will still been awful, right? They've played under Ten Hag. They played a 4-4-3 under Ten Hag. And yes, you can argue they won an FA Cup, but they've been awful. Look, these players cannot get away with this again scot-free. Tonight, Amorim does not make Bruno play like that. He does not make Dorgu play like that. He doesn't make Euro play like that. These players had a bad game tonight. Look, Amorim doesn't get away with this scot-free, but these players cannot get away with it again. You know, these players are the problem. This manager is now the problem. This footballing expertise are a problem. I would just clear it all out. If I had a wand, I would clear the manager. I would get rid of these players. Doesn't mean I want this manager sacked. I would get rid of these players now, ever speak. To be fair to you, right? This is my position on it. If I was Amorim, instead of playing football that I want to play, you need to play to these players' strengths. If you want to survive at this club, then what you've got to do is, I absolutely agree that Amorim needs to play his system. It's not Amorim's fault that he was brought in to coach this system. Amorim knows these players, right? Amorim should play to these players' strengths until he gets his players in. There is no point in ever speak. This is where I agree with you, and I will concede a point. There is no way that Amorim should be playing his system with these players. These players can't play his system. These players cannot play this system. We're playing a pivot, and there are players in this pivot that can't do it. He's playing, like, how many games has he played this season? And every time we run, they get ran through the middle of. You're right. The wing backs are not right. Now, there are players in this team that shouldn't be getting into this team. And I agree. I do agree that Amorim has to bring his level of football down to accommodate these low IQ, low mentality players. But his stubbornness will not allow him to do that. I cannot accept that it is not these players. Tonight, that performance is on the manager, on the way that he's set up that team. It's on the players. The way they played tonight was disgusting, from the manager to just the players. I don't know what they do every week, because the way they came out tonight, they look nervous. And when I say that, you look at mentality players. They're not nervous. These players look like they shit themselves, literally from the word go. Pat Smokey says, I reckon United could get 12 this year. Even YouTube is poking the bear. YouTube is poking the bear. Golf Dad, no, I'm with you about Shaw. Woeful, easy, or worst performance this season. I agree. YouTube playing up. Hopefully he's back. Liam says, I apologise if this has been said, but we decided to start chucking crosses in the box. No aerial threat, but when Shesko plays, we refuse to cross the ball. Liam, mate, I think you make a good point. Good point. Well made. That's one of the things that I've been saying throughout the whole game. Shesko would have been great in this game. Shesko, people were saying, free Xerxes, free Xerxes. He's been freed and Xerxes shit. What a line, Liam. Even when we had Rasmus, they never crossed the ball. Players would get thrashed off the park. I agree with you. Just coming in to hit the like button, JB. Done this lot of conning ourselves, thinking we can get Europe with this squad. Thank you, my friend. Hope you're doing extremely well. I think Ruben does this on purpose to mock the board. Play like a bunch of individuals again. I'm lost. I'm just lost with these decisions, formations, lineups. I don't see the Manchester way I've always known, that I've known and loved. They showed their usual weakness tonight. Scott says, me, running with 40, 50 yards passing. JB throwing hands. The team is like Vicky Pollard, but yeah, that's quality. It's not all the plays. It's not all the same plays we go. Mentality is non-existent. More like how the ball go into the net. I don't know. The game was screaming out for Shea Lacey to break down the low block. And what does he do? He brings on Delay. One game a week, and they cannot motivate themselves to go on and play. We got 10 to 12 new players, haven't we? I'm not against selling Shaw, Bruno, or any of these players, but we got 12 new players. Everspeak, I don't know where you're getting your 12 players from, mate. Amorim has had Dorgu, who is a prospect player. He's had Shesko, Mbumo, Cunha, Lemens. That's all he's had. That's all he's had, my friend. He's had Shesko, Mbumo, Cunha, Dorgu, Lemens. Lemens is a prospect. Dorgu is a prospect. He's had Cunha, Mbumo, Shesko. That's all he's had. That's it. He's had no midfield. All the other players, mate, I don't know where you're getting your 12 players from. I genuinely don't. If you can tell me the 12 players, mate, I don't know. Players are the problem. Manager is the problem. Dead crowd, dead atmosphere. Old Trafford is the problem. The players need to refund the fans. Season tickets turn up to their door, say there's a grand because we simply not performed. I agree with you completely. Colin Clark says Shaw has played and Van Gaal, Jose, Oli, Ranić, Ten Hag, and Amorim. Colin, I agree with you. I can't stand Luke Shaw. I've tried to be kind. I'm done. I'm done. Everspeak says, I agree. The management in Ineos Glazers have fault as well. I hope Jim watched this season. We need 2 CMs. JB is swinging a tripod, mate. My tripod's going to swing in their face. There's something seriously wrong with United top to bottom. You're a shell of what I grew up watching. No one plays for your club. Captain is a baby. Best striker is a gormless centre-back. Say it how it is, mate. Just say it. Just say it, my friend. It's like turning up to cut a tree with a screwdriver and hammer and chisel when you could just bring a chainsaw. Usman says Everton were better than United. They had 11 players. I agree, completely agree. His squad is like a. What makes a good manager is adaptability. Erik ten Hag found a way of winning, but didn't want to continue with that. Worked. Ronaldo or Rooney, mate. I'm not going into that tonight. Rooney for me though. 30 crosses with no target men. Do you expect Xerxes to come in cold and do anything fantastic? I knew Xerxes would not play well, but I'm his fan. Look. Everspeak. Respect that opinion, mate. I think tonight you're coming out with some good stuff, right? I love the comments, mate. I think you are putting in some bangers tonight. The one thing I'll say about this channel, mate, I'll respect your opinion. I'm going to read them out because I think every opinion tonight is needs to be said. Look, I don't disagree with you, but look, this is I'm at on it, right? You play for Man United, right? I don't care if you've not played for 2 years. You've got to be ready. You've got to be ready, right? Our fan base and our expectation of these players now is so low that we accept. Everybody's been saying free Xerxes. I even said today, Xerxes is not it. I've been saying this. Xerxes is not the guy. I don't think he's the guy. Xerxes for me is not the guy, right? Everspeak, I absolutely know what you're saying. Okay? I don't care. Not because I don't care about your comment. This is United. You have to be ready. I don't care if he's not played the last 10 games. He needs to be ready. When you get called up to play for the first team, if you're not ready, you're not good enough. Xerxes is not good enough. I respect the comment. I think you're partly right. I don't care. We play 1 game a week. Xerxes should be ready. Otherwise, don't play. This is why he doesn't get played. United's way doesn't exist. You always had form world-class players. Now you have underperforming players who could be world-class if they pushed. You're a club that goes for the payday. From last season, not from Amorim, we had club signings under Erik ten Hag. But look, I get that as well. I do agree, but they're not Amorim signings. I think Everspeak, I do take the point, and it's true, but they're not Amorim players. They're not Amorim players. You signed him for the previous coach. What's his coach supposed to do with him? The board brought in players for the team and not for Erik ten Hag, which is why he was sacked quickly. That's why I keep saying he can get 10 players. I disagree. Disagree, my friend. I disagree. I disagree completely. I disagree. And the reason, and I'll give you my opinion why I disagree with you, right, is because you cannot bring in players for a 4-3-3 system and bring in players for a 5-3-2 system, right? To a degree, you can have that, but the players he brought in were not versatile players. They're not. Like Xerxes. What is Xerxes? He's not a 10. He's not a striker. What is he? Whilst I know the point you're trying to make, but these players were signed for Ten Hag. It's such a departure from Erik ten Hag to Amorim it's such a different way of football. These players could not have been bought for Amorim. It's impossible. That you cannot buy those sorts of players for Amorim. We play such a different system. We didn't even know that we were going to play a 5-3-2. How can you buy players for the future when they're going to play a completely different system? They were brought in because we were going to play a 4-3-3. So look, I respect the opinion, I really do, but I just, in my view, I just don't see how you can buy players for a manager you didn't know you were going to get in a style that we've never played before. Pickford was fired up. He was. Everton players were frigging fighting each other, exactly. How many times did the ball get whipped past the post for you guys tonight? It was terrible tonight. Made up for us though tonight. A big win for Moyes. And look, football then and now. Well done, mate. Mate, well done. I've got no. There's no anything from me tonight. You weren't lucky. You were not lucky. You deserved the win. You played us off the park the first half. Idrissa Gueye, what a prat. I think it would have been much worse if you had 11 men on the pitch. Amorim got schooled by Moyes. Everton were fighting for each other. I thought Keane was magnificent tonight. You guys were the better team. The one thing that will annoy me more than anything else, and I will have to put people straight on this, is that if anybody says, look at the stats, we had 20 shots, Everton didn't play well, they only had 35% possession to our 65, we had 20 shots compared to their 3. No. Those stats do not tell the story of the game. Everton scored a goal, locked up shop. Done and dusted. Easy night for them. What are they actually training through the week? Bruno can join Ronaldo. Everton defenders are the strongest when balls are played into the box. Both Keane and Tarkowski ate them up. They are not comfortable when you hit them behind, but it didn't happen once. Xerxes is off, highly disappointing. Yeah, I agree with you. Xerxes is a penguin from Batman. Why do they have to ruin every weekend? Dorgu is a better replacement. Is better replaced by academy players. I agree with you. He's a professional footballer. He should always be ready. You're right. The fans were asking for Xerxes and his pants. Xerxes is an unsettled man. He is, mate. He is. But look, sign me. Look, I agree. He's unsettled. Agreed. But mentality. Completely agree with you all players. They need to be ready no matter what. Doesn't work that way. I'm so disappointed. But I know you are, mate. Look, ever speak, mate. I think you're making some banging comments, by the way. I think you are. I think you're making some banging comments. It's just disappointing, right? It's just we're all looking for answers. We're all trying to find answers because I think what people don't get, right, is it's not just a loss. It's the manner of the loss. It is the performance on the pitch. We lost 1-0 to a team who went down to 10 men, who outfought us, who outfought us, were better in the tackle, handled our crosses. I mean, if you can call them that. Just there was no contest. It was men against boys tonight. How was Dorgu not a player? Xerxes is a disappointment. The whole team were utter trash. Lemens, if he had taken one more step to his left, he saved the shot. Not blaming him, but he can get better. How many times did yeah, exactly. He lost the confidence that United is probably better off back in Italy or Spain. Agree with you. Agree. There's nothing Amorim can do with this squad. I feel bad for him at times watching these players. Why didn't Amorim take off Xerxes? Because who else is going to play? Mason Mount was shit as well, by the way. There's no Cunha. I mean, he doesn't have another striker. I think that's why he played. Dorgu's Amorim signing. He's so terrible. We've had injuries. It was a tough game with Xerxes up top. One player can't change the whole system because there wasn't another centre forward. This is the worst league result for United since Fergie left, maybe with the exception of the 7-0. Dorgu, I want him to work, but he isn't good enough. Everton weren't good. We were just rubbish. No. We were rubbish. We were awful. Agreed completely. We were terrible. But super chat from David B. Thank you, my friend. He says 2 unused subs again, new signings, paper to crack. David, thank you for the super chat, my friend. Absolute legend. As I'd always say, it blows my mind when people put in a super chat. And look, mate, I thank you so much, mate. Legend of the chat. 2 unused subs again, new signings, paper in the cracks. David, I couldn't have summed it up. I couldn't have summed it up more, And look, I know, there were so many different opinions on this, right? There were so many different opinions on this right now that I don't think that there is one that's right and there's one that's wrong. I've been supporting this manager since the start of the season, since the Grimsby game. I don't need to say sack this manager, because ultimately, if this keeps happening, he's going to sack himself. He's stuck with these players. He plays these plays in these positions. He has to take some of the blame as well. If we decide to change the manager, we need to get someone who has won trophies in a decent league rather than one who wins trophies in crap leagues. Doesn't take much to beat United. We're worse than Liverpool. Undefeated says we have to stop predicting a win. They let us down every game. We can't say that Everton is crap. United is crap. I agree with you. I should go with my instinct. Right, I'm a very pragmatic person. I get carried away. I predicted 2-1 win, possibly a hard fought, but it was even worse than that. I think you're right. I think we should stop predicting wins. I think we should be predicting whether or not we're going to play well. I think that's probably what we should start doing. Hard to watch. Romani, agree. It may have been a different game if Coutinho and Shesko was on. No energy in the midfield. I agree with you. No team can outdo Man United at being trash. Tells you what, though, Liverpool are giving it a good go, aren't they? Jack Brady says we was absolutely dog today. We had no answer for anything. We looked lost going forward. Every single one of them shocking. So peed off about tonight. I really am. Look, Jack, I'm with you, mate. Tonight is disgusting. Tonight is disgusting. And it's not just on the players. The players need to shoulder a lot of the blame tonight. Amorim needs to take his blame as well. Last couple of games we've progressively got worse. Don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. We have Ugarte. I don't feel bad for Amorim. He took the job. Should deal with what comes to it. What have we got? Rather have Ugarte and playing Bruno. Darth Paul said just laughed. Yo JB, yo Palace. We're playing you next week, mate. I don't fancy our chances. Mitch says United guy is not happy. Forza Milan. How did Milan do? Mitch, I forgot to ask actually. How did they do? If we continue like this, Ineos must act at the end of the season. United are doing crap for 4 years. Now they get worse every season. It's a beautiful thing to see. Thanks, Darth Paul. Thanks, mate. Look, there's nothing that you can say to me tonight. Look, mate. The sad thing is that Darth Paul. I can't even come back, mate. I can't. There's nothing from me to come back to. I take no joy in Liverpool being awful. I take no joy in. I was brought up in a football sense to I don't care what anybody else does around me, right? Because if I'm doing my job, I don't care what Liverpool are doing. If I do my job, I don't care about what Arsenal are doing. If I do my job, I don't care what anybody else does because I'm going to win because I'm doing my job. We're coming to a point as a fan base where we're so focused on what other people do that we get less focused on what this team is about. You're right. We are awful. Dino says top four, top six is done. We need proper signings mid-season. There's not enough quality in the squad. I completely agree with you. Everspeak says the red card came in. Everton scored, and I just knew we'd lose. I predicted a draw. Actually, interesting one. I genuinely thought, and if you've watched the show before, one of the things that I have been saying for quite some time, and I should have gone with my instincts, right? I was saying that we've progressively been getting worse and worse and worse. We've progressively been getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. Grimsby was the lowest point. We've got slightly better, slightly better, slightly better, but we've been playing shit all season. I've not seen us play a good game. The best game that we played was Arsenal. That was our best game. Arsenal was our best game. That we peaked at Arsenal. We peaked at home in the first game of the season, and that was it. Dave says, I'm not hammering out, but to be at home, one more player on the pitch and don't utilise fresh legs is mental to me. We have been 2 or 3 goals ahead in games this season and in game. Yeah, I agree with you. Beefy says Arsenal winning the double. Milan won against Inter. Mitch, well done, my friend. I loved your confidence. Brilliant, mate. I'm pleased for you. Well done. Look, I like when you guys support different teams and when your teams win, right? Because it perks me up because I need something to, Arsenal going to win the double? Possibly. All I'm going to say, I watched the Arsenal game yesterday. Arsenal for 35 minutes weren't great. But what Arsenal do very, very well is that they just grind out. They're very, very consistent. They don't stop doing what they're doing. Arsenal have got quality players. Arsenal have got players that know their job. And what Arsenal do is, even if they're not playing well in patches of games, they're consistent. They know their jobs. They know what they're doing, and they're consistent. I think we will not make close to 10 points in the next 5 games. Mike says, another local. Yep. But don't know what that means, mate. Where do you think we could end up this season? Everspeak, since the start of the season, I've predicted 8th to 10th. With the more wins, I would have maybe gone up to 7th or 6th, but I'm in and around 8th to 10th this season. Luke Floyd says, sick of this club. The Glazers have rinsed us. Not one player looked up for it tonight. I've had enough of Amorim. Keep starting Dorgu and then proves he ain't got a clue and he needs to go. Look, Luke, mate, this is tonight. This is to get your frustration out tonight, my friend. Nathan is having a good laugh. Thanks, mate. Diana says Ineos need to act in January window. Jake Cox says City fan here. I'd rather have United win games rather than Arsenal and Liverpool. My neighbours deserve better than this. Like Jake, legend. Thank you, mate. Thank you, my friend. I mean, mate, we couldn't win with an open goal, mate. Look, I appreciate it. I really, really do, my friend, and it's nice. It is refreshing to have some good banter and some good rival fans on here, mate. We are nowhere near it, mate. We are nowhere near it. United's squad's cost is so much; it's poor. Agreed. When are we going to see United in the Champions League? 2050 might be too soon, mate. Forrest Gumption United, life is like a box of chocolates. Google Chrome says, I will buy that United top off you right now. Name your price. Remember that one. Mate, you can easily go and pick this up, mate, for about 40 quid. I love this kit. This is not the exact shirt, but this is my favourite shirt of all time. United tonight, I pissed all over it. No, this is my favourite shirt of all time. Name my price, £1,000. They are nice words of you, I hope Malawi, mate. I hope so, mate. The football will be brighter if AC Milan and United are back to where they belong. Have a little look. You don't know how good. Yeah, Liam Jones. Let's have a look. Where are we? Oh, hostage, Liam. Why would I block it? Okay, right. Okay. So, look. Let's go for the game. We've not even gone through the game yet, so let's go for the game. Let's go for the plays. So look, let's go for the game tonight. So, Everton started off well. United, you can always tell. JB first time I wasn't happy with Lamens tonight. He was being a breath of fresh air. I've watched a goal a few times, and I think he should have saved it. I don't disagree. So let's get through the game, right? So Everton started off quick, fast, composed, poised. We all know United how they're going to play when they started, and they started just diabolical. And then look, that was the continuation of the match. De Ligt looked suspect really for the first time tonight. Yoro didn't have his best game. I thought Luke Shaw of the back three initially looked more composed, but he went on to have an absolute stinker. Dorgu, I don't even know what Dorgu was today. I normally like that pace. I don't know what he was tonight. Mazraoui wasn't great either. We just couldn't get hold of the ball. Everton looked comfortable, looked poised. Every time they got the ball to a Grealish, Dewsbury Hall. Dewsbury Hall ran that midfield. And Dino, I'm going to say the P word again. Original Pro Master says, "Hey, hello, my friend. I'm gonna say the P word again. I've gone all blocky again, haven't I? I'm going to say the P word again. The pivot, I can't stand the pivot. I absolutely despise the pivot. The pivot for me is the worst thing to be invented. I've gone blocky again, haven't I? Let's see if this improves. I cannot stand the word pivot. Every time I now hear the word pivot table, anytime I hear the P word, I'm just gonna lose my mind. It's going blocky again as well. What? Even YouTube tonight is trying to wind me up. Stop trying to wind me up, YouTube. JB was Saki's. Right. Okay. Hold up. Right. Let's get onto this. Right. Okay. So, look, Everton, Dewsbury Hall, Luke Shaw and below on. I'm not saying the P word. Dewsbury Hall ran that midfield. Bruno Fernandes was non-existent. We couldn't get hold of the game. Width-wise, we couldn't hold on to the ball. In Burmo didn't, had some chances today, but didn't really do much with the balls. We're chasing down blind alleys. Jonathan Hindle says trash, trash, trash. Mitch says, where is a great Shesko? Shesko is injured, my friend, and has been for quite some time. Where is Ratcliffe hiding after all his talk, like expected, but still the manager needs to change. Look, guys, get in with your comments tonight about the ownership, the manager. I despise Ineos. I despise the Glazers. I despise what they've done to this club. We've accumulated a set of low IQ, low mentality players. We then decided to go for a coach who, look, whatever I think about the coach, I'll come on to the coach, right? Whatever we think about the coach, they went for a coach who is learning on the job. We needed a winner. We need a winner. We need somebody with a guy who is proven to have won stuff. And I'm not talking about in Holland. I'm not talking about in Portugal. We need somebody who can win something. Now, it doesn't. I can't block again, isn't it? It doesn't matter to me necessarily who this manager is. He's not going to do anything with these low IQ players, right? Whoever we get, we're going to have to buy some new players, right? But where I have to concede, where I have to start conceding, is if I'm Amorim, if I'm a coach, right, or if I'm a leader of any sort of team, and you can be in the Marines, you could, I don't know, be a chef, right? If you've got certain people in your team who are not great, who are not as strong as some, who are not the best team, and look, Dino, and I'm sure that you're a cracking chef, mate. This is not a chef agenda, mate. And look, Dino in the chat is a Michelin star legend chef. He is Gordon Ramsay. So this is not about chefs, right? But if you Scott, mate, Scott, look, Scott, don't, like, nobody speaks for me, Scott. So look, Scott, don't, look, mate. No one speaks for me, Scott. So so look, mate, you're good. If you need to replace your team, but it's the only team that you have to now. So if somebody says to you, you've got to work with this worst team for a year, but you have to do my head in. You have to work them in a certain way, or you'll get sacked. Then you're going to work your team in a certain way, right? Amorim can't do it. Amorim just expects these players to play a system, but Amorim knows these players are absolute dog awful. So I'm confused. I'm confused about what this manager is doing with these players, and I'm confused about what these players are doing with this coach. He plays one game a week. They play one game a week, and I don't understand why these players cannot get up. Look, wouldn't professional pride come into it? Wouldn't your professional pride as a player dictate and go, look, I don't like this coach, right? But my professional pride will say I'm going to play for the badge. I'm going to play for the fans. But no, there's no surprise. Seen it all before with these lot. Chris, agree, mate. Agree completely. I think I've missed a couple of things up here as well. Name our best fullback. I can't, my friend. I can't. Usman says, do you think if either Arteta or Guardiola managed today, the performance would have been the same? If the answer is no, then the manager should go and a better manager should come in. Do I think that Arteta or them could do with a better performance? No. 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 They couldn't. I don't really get that, because surely it would be if those managers could do better, then Amorim should go. There is no manager. Could a manager come in here and get better results than an Amorim? Yes. I think Sean Dyche could come into this team and basically set it up to play to these players' strengths, right? But this is another one of my things, right? You've got multi-million pound players who are seasoned veterans, some of them. You play football, right? And then they come into the squad and they go, I don't want to play in this. I don't like playing as a number 8. Like, I'm paying you 300 grand a week. If I tell you to wash my car, you wash my fucking car, mate. Like, if I'm the owner of this club and I'm paying you 300k a week, if I want you to play in goal, you play in goal, right? And these players, I can't do it. It's too hard. I can't play centre midfield. It's so hard. I don't want to play a wing back. It's so hard. I'm a number 10. It's so difficult. Oh my God. And these players are moaning and whinging and bitching about everything that they're being asked to do. They can't even. I would have respect for these players if they were at least doing their job. And what I mean is, if they could pass the ball, if they could tackle, run, work their butts off. They're not even doing that. Like, this is my problem with the players, right? Is that Amorim takes a lot of blame because he has to, right? But where these players, I blame these players, is they don't run, they don't tackle, they don't pass, they can't shoot, they don't cross. The decisions that they make are pathetic. And when you've accumulated players like that who can't even do the simple things right, there is no manager in the world that's going to coach that. You know, Conte, for example, could come here. Klopp could, example, come here. They're not going to do it because they can't. Nicky T says we should got another striker. They know Xerxes no good. Playing 5 defenders against 10 men is outrageous. Agree. Original Pro Master says Amorim isn't doing anything the players would play the same with a manager. Without a manager, I agree. There's no surprise. I've seen it all. Still picking the low speaks volumes. Dorgu not far behind in terms of useless plays. I'd rather have Amas playing and then those two clowns. I agree, but you know why Dalot plays. You know why, don't you? Friends, Portuguese friends, 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 Portuguese friends. You need to understand most footballers are mercenaries. I agree with you completely. Stephen says will we beat Barcelona and Arsenal the weekend? Up the Chelsea. I don't know, mate. I don't know. With Chelsea, you never know what you're gonna get with Chelsea. Look, I hope so. Look, I hope you can beat them. I do. I hope the Barcelona one. I do hope you beat them. Arsenal. Look, I would have said if we'd have won today, I would have said I would have liked a draw. I would have liked a draw because it would have been good from my perspective for us to try to catch you. It's not happening. We're in a completely different spectrum. So look, I think Chelsea have got a Chelsea is Chelsea Chelsea in a different league to us. I think if you beat if you beat them, I think you've got a good. I think you've got a good opportunity to do something. JD, have to admit your comment on Euro looking like Rio was spot on. He just reminds me of a young Rio Ferdinand. It's just it's just the way he runs with the ball and he brings the ball out. I think if Euro had a better DM, I really like Euro. I do. I really do. We missed the Cunha goal and mentality this evening. We need more players like him. Why did the almighty Harry Maguire step up? Because he's injured. Cunha was missed tonight. I agree. These are valid points, but today insisting on playing 3 centre-backs against 1 striker with 10 men was bizarre. I agree. Couldn't beat Forest, never mind toffees. The low getting a belly tickle. More like tug. Every says most footballers are mercenaries with clout. Once I watched Ancelotti philosophy when he spoke about giving players freedoms. He used to be strict and found the most successful way of playing to their strengths. People in the stream starting to calm down now. People are less angry. It's what happens. Get it out. Exactly. Look, and this is what we do on this channel, right? We provide you a platform to get it out, right? It's really important that you people come on here, vent. Exactly, right? You've got to have a place to come, literally, and get your opinions out. So look, let's go deeper into the game, right? So Everton, as we said, first half they scored a goal, and then Idrissa Gueye then decides to slap his teammate, right? I mean, it wasn't even a slap. I mean, he should not have been sent off for that. Look, I am a fair person, right? It just makes the result even worse. That the fact that Idrissa Gueye, one of their midfield players, was taken off, red carded. It wasn't a red card for me. I mean, Jesus. I mean, if that's a red card, but look, 10 men, and then Dewsbury Hall scores, and it was a slap, right? But I mean, come on. I mean, should he have been sent off for that? I mean, Dewsbury Hall scores a fantastic goal. I mean, look, should Lemens have got to that? I think that's a question. I know Dino does think that. I don't know. I think he could have taken a step more to his right. I think Pickford would have got to that. I think when you're... Look, I don't want to put a downer. I'm not going to put a downer on him today. Again, if you have a world-class keeper, does he score that? I think what I've got to say to myself on that one, look, as much as I like Lemens, I have to be honest and say, if that was Pickford in goal, would he have saved that? And I think he would have. So therefore, I think Lemens should have saved it. Lemens is a young keeper. Look, Lemens is by no means the reason why we lost today. Should he have saved it? Yes, it happens to the best of keepers, but we've got to be honest. And then basically, Everton shut up shop. First half, the end of that half, United just look bereft of any ideas. That the passing was awful, the position play was awful. Second half, we come out. I'm expecting a bit more. Everton look comfortable. We pump balls into the box. Xerxes, I mean, 6'4". You've got Tarkovsky, you've got Keane. Lap it up all day. They are experts in, they're experts in Sean Dyche ball, expert in Moyes ball, that is what they've done predominantly through their careers. They are fully used to balls coming into the box. When you've got the likes of a Mason Mount, who's 5'2", against Tarkowski, Mason Mount again. People were clambering for Mason Mount to come on and play. Mason Mount offered nothing. Mason Mount offered absolutely nothing today. Xerxes, nothing at all. Xerxes, in my opinion, is not a patch on a Shesko. I thought Ahmad, if you're gonna put a gun to my head and say, who is our best player, none of them. But I'd say Ahmad was probably the best of a bad bunch today. I thought Ahmad was okay. No, he didn't just take pot shots from 35 yards. He tried to do stuff with it. In Mbeumo today was all right. Again, it's difficult. It's difficult when again, I thought his touch was awful. There was nobody there today. I think to a man, I thought they were atrocious. We then started pumping balls into the box. I mean, it was pointless. Bruno had a couple of shots, a couple of good saves. I mean, Pickford, what a save from the Xerxes header. It was just a fantastic save. Bruno Fernandes pretty much had an open goal, fluffed that. We just had nothing today. And I think the worst thing for me, and again, Amorim then doesn't use all of his substitutes, brings on a Mainu. And look, again, I'm not blaming a Mainu for this. I'm still of the opinion that if you play in this team, it doesn't matter what minute you get called on the pitch, you should be ready. Mainu, I saw nothing from him. I saw nothing from any of the subs. That he could have used more subs. He didn't. It was an opportunity to move Bruno to 10. I just don't get it. Amorim subs again were baffling. You're at home. Go to a back four. In fact, go to a back three. And when I say back three, I mean go to a back three and just leave them as a three and just play. Just play with a front seven. You are at home. Get the crowd up and just play a front seven, right? No, nothing like that. So, I thought we were abjectly terrible. Everton shut up shop. Easy night. Easy. It was easy night work on the basis that Everton came out and looked fantastic and we were awful. So, just what a despicable performance. Scott says we need Shaw, Dalot. I ain't saying the P word, mate. Our players look depressed. They all look like they hate playing football. Adrissa slap Gay. Definitely was a slap. The manager looks like a nanny to kids. The most liked nannies get the kids to do what they want. The same as footballers. Once you like they give you the best. Amorim is quite disliked. I don't disagree. It's a plain notice. JB walking down the beach again. Yeah, it's true, mate. The way to look at this is would it be a red card? Yeah. I guess it would be. To be fair, what did Mount do? Mount did nothing. Moving Ahmad to the right actually didn't improve us. It didn't. He was working better than going down the middle. I'm still trying to buy into the manager who stubbornly plays a system that not only continues to confuse me, but it seems to be the players. Manu was a ghost. JB, I love you, but surely you're Amorim out now. Niche fan, I'm not. Look, I'll explain it. Right, I'm going to explain. I'll explain it to you why I'm not Amorim out, right? And I've explained it many times, but I will explain it again. Agreed, you have to gamble, especially against him. And Amorim, there's no philosophy changing. Hipster dosser. Let's get Radnick back. I think Neville was spot on. The build-up was too slow and predictable, says Andrew. Sell everyone apart from Mbumo, Cunha, Ahmad, De Ligt, Yora, and Lemens. I agree with that. I agree with that, niche fan. I do, actually. Reva says the timid start set the tone, disgraceful performance. Irwin and Neville all time. Irwin, mate. Irwin every day of the week. Gary Neville doesn't get anywhere near Irwin. Tonight, the players once again did not have the energy or will to win this game. Next set of games are going to be more heart and tactics. Yora is overrated. He's been average at best this season. Xerxes should have been sold. So before we go on to the player ratings as such, get in your ratings as well. Liam says, tough time to be Spurs and United fan as usual. Liam, mate, I feel your pain. It is atrocious time, isn't it? It is awful. Xerxes, 6'3" and soft as. Agree with you. Statistically, I really don't know how you didn't win tonight. Geordie, this is the thing about statistics, right? They can mask things, right? Stats lie. The stats tonight lied. Now, yes, Everton didn't have many balls. Everton had more balls than us. And I mean it in both senses, right? Everton didn't have control of the ball that much. And they only had 3 shots. But that wasn't the story of the game. Everton were comfortable. We could have been playing till next week and we wouldn't have scored a goal. We lose every game during the AFCON. So this is where I am with the manager, right? I don't need to sack Amorim, right? Is Amorim the guy? I don't know. I don't know if he is. I still don't think Amorim's been given a fair crack of the whip. I don't think that Amorim has had his players. Yes, Amorim has had 3 players, but Amorim hasn't had his players. Now, what I mean, by that, and I'm going to go through it because it's not just a case of, Amorim's great, because it's not great. I don't understand, JB, I'm not kissing your ass, but I'm really, could you do a better job than Amorim? No, I couldn't. Would I pick a different team? Yes, I would. Let me tell you what I would do, right? What I would do is, I know that my job is like that, right? I know these players are dossers, right? What I'm going to do until the end of the season, I'm going to make a plan with Wilcox, and I'm going to make a plan with the other guys, and I'm going to say to them, I want these pricks gone, right? You get these arseholes gone. I want them all gone. But what I then do is I say, look, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play them. I'm going to play them in a system that they can play because they're thick as shit, right? What you do is you go, look, I'm going to play low IQ, easy football, right? I'm going to get to the end of the season. Emmanuel, agree. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go against what I believe is right, and I'm going to go and play these players in positions that they can play because I want to survive. So I want to survive, and I want to get to the end of the season. I hate pandering to players, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to make them feel good. Right? I'm going to get them to the end of the season, and then at the end of the season, I'm going to line them up and say, you lot can fuck off. And they're going to be all, this guy's great, this guy's amazing. But behind the scenes, I'd be making plans to get rid of the whole lot. That's what Amorim hasn't learned. Also, What puzzles me about him is he's getting schooled by Sean Dyche. He's getting schooled by Moyes. Amorim is 40 years old. Amorim is a young coach. Amorim is inexperienced still, and it shows. Amorim is very, very stubborn. I think all the Man United players should take Michael Myers in. Legend, my friend. Hope you are well. Amorim is a very, very stubborn man. I am not necessarily Amorim in. I'm not Amorim out. I am manager in. And what I mean by that is that these fucking players are going to sack another manager. Like, I'm not saying all of them, but as much as Amorim, I believe that if Amorim goes, he's got no one else to blame. Like, I'm not going to defend certain parts of what he does, but I cannot excuse United having given him his players. You know, you bring in an inexperienced coach. You bring in an inexperienced coach to play a system that we've never played, and you expect him to play a system with these players you've sacked many managers, right? It is ridiculous. It is an absolute farce, right? But this manager, is he the right manager? The jury's out. You know, he's stubborn. He doesn't change the system. I'm still on this hill, is that it is not the system. It is not the tactics. It is the players cannot play this system. But Amorim will not back down and amend this system for the players until he gets his own play. It is ridiculous. Like, I believe Amorim can do a good job here, right? But Amorim also needs to learn what these players are, and he's not adapting. And when I say adapt, what I mean here is this. Amorim needs to adapt to these players. Like, if you don't have the players to play your system, you've got to survive and play a system that suits these players. You've got to, Amorim. You've got no choice. And I'm going to say the P word. The pivot doesn't work. Like, I don't know how to get it into his thick head. Playing Bruno Fernandes as a 10 and Casemiro in the Premier League doesn't fucking work. I can't express this enough. It doesn't work. Playing Luke Shaw, who is dog shit, who's been dog shit all season, you can't play him as a left side centre back. He's done. Luke Shaw is fucking done. Like, I don't get it. And this is what puzzles me, is I don't understand. Like, I don't get why you wouldn't. If you want to survive these players and you want to survive this club, until you get your players, just amend your system, because then you stay and they go. Like, you're almost getting dragged into this battle with these players that you can't win. You're not going to win this battle against these players. Your stubbornness is going to get you sacked. Bruno Fernandes is going to get you sacked. You're going to sack yourself. I want you to last. I want you to be the man. But you're going to sack yourself. I don't need to be in or out, because Amorim's gonna sack himself. Where are we? JB, I understand, but Amorim will not change his system. Nisha, you're right, mate. Scott says Jim needs to sort this out. Jim isn't going to sort. At the end of the day, Amorim does an unlucky performance. Amorim, champers Amorim. Like, he he's not going to sort it out. He's not going to sort it out. Sir Jim believes this side can get fourth. I mean, it is ridiculous. We need Zidane. Oh man, I saw it as a vision. He can be revived through Zidane. Ineos needs to either back him or get rid of him. I think I agree with you. I think they need to back him or sack him. There's no point. There's no point continuing with this. There is no point. I've been saying this for weeks, and people have been saying to me like, you're a negative person. Like I saw this coming. I've seen this coming for the last 5 weeks. This is obvious. These players are so inconsistent, and these players are absolutely dog shit. Riva, it's going to be a long season. I agree with you completely. If the players don't fit the system, that Amorim needs to adapt. They spent 200 million in the summer. If there's still loads of problem positions in the system, then this is an Amorim problem. It's an Amorim problem that he needs to solve. I'll back Amorim on the basis that he doesn't have his players, right? He doesn't have his players. But mate, Amorim, you decided to keep Bruno Fernandes. Nobody's telling you to play this way. Nobody's making the decisions that you make on field. As much as I will back to a degree, he doesn't have his players. But Amorim, mate, like, you pick the team, like, you've created the pivot. It doesn't work. Like, you play this system with players that I don't think there's anything wrong with your system, but you can't play that system with these players. No, the decisions that you make on field baffle me. We're at home and you're playing a back five. You're basically playing a back five. Like, it's those decisions for me that are baffling. If it's not working, Amorim is stubborn. Champers, exactly. Southgate incoming. Oh, Radcliffe won't sack Amorim. We are stuck with mid-table mediocrity unless the match-going fan base really turn him. Did you watch the presser? Amorim said we're not ready. 1 game a week, mate. Look, I again, that's a question. Why aren't we ready with 1 game a week? Again, these are questions now. At the beginning of the season, Amorim in, right? Fully him in. Look, Amorim has got an opportunity here. I can't keep using the excuse for him that he doesn't have his players. He doesn't have his players, right? But tough shit. You've got players. You need to figure this out. You're getting paid to manage this team. Manage this team. Manage these players. Manage your substitutions better. Manage a formation that whilst it goes against your principles to change this team, you're going to have to do it. If you don't do it, you're going to get sacked. He says, personally, I prefer a manager to stick to his principles and get sacked, because if he changes the principle, he goes back to play power. Liam, mate, I am sort of with you on it, right? But it depends on how much Amorim wants to keep his job, right? I would say this, right? If you want to stay, change your system. And what I mean is, Amorim, there is nothing wrong with your system. I don't believe there's anything wrong with your system. I don't believe it's your tactics. I believe it is the players, right? However, if these players can't play your system and you want to stay, you need to adapt. If you don't give a shit and you want to get sacked with these players, keep on playing the system. Like, whatever happens, Amorim's going to take the blame. So, he needs to. It's still. I don't mind the tactic bit, right? But it's the substitutions. It baffles me. It baffles me. We need to get Europe this season. Is going to be financially damaging if we don't. We're not getting Europe with this philosophy and these players. We need to spend money to get experienced players. Come on, we're tired of living. It's a heartbreak to those fans who pays for a visa to come here and lose. So he says, instead of spending 80 million on a midfielder, spend it on the release clause of a good manager. I can't watch that anymore. Look, I'm not going to defend that tonight. I'm giving you my opinion on it. I think your opinions are valid. I always think they are valid. I think tonight more than ever. Hi mate, Coventry City, they play as a team and togetherness is out of this world. You have to have a look behind the scenes, how the players are and the coach and has a team they play for the badge. Steve, mate, that's a banging comment. I love that. People, United are toxic from top to bottom. I always believe this, and I have for quite some time. It starts from the Glazers. It started with the Glazers. Wilcox, and again, I'm always going to bring this example up, right? Because I think it's a pertinent example. Wilcox, a couple of months ago now, did a dinner, right? And he did a talk, and he said when he came into this club 18 months ago, there was no link between the owners, the management, the players, the academy, and it was like that for 11 odd years. It's disgusting, right? Ineos, Sir Jim has propped this up. Now, Sir Jim could have fucking taken his nose out of our business, pissed off, and look, whether I agree with this or not, we needed the debt cleared. We needed that whole thing cleared, right? Sir Jim stuck his nose into this business, kept the Glazers in charge, put some money into this club, and now we've got this festering turd. We've got this festering big pile of turd that it doesn't matter. It's like wiping this big mound of crap with like a baby wipe, right? It's like you got a big massive steaming mound of poo and you're wiping it with a baby wipe. It's just not going to do anything. And we are still toxic. This club, you've got Fernandes, who is an absolute sham. Bruno Fernandes is an absolute sham on this club right now. He is absolutely a walking, breathing 300k a week sham. What I think the biggest travesty for Bruno Fernandes is that he did carry this team for quite some time, and his legacy, like he's not a legacy player, right? He's not a legend in this club. He's tainting that, and yes, it is Amorim doing as well by playing him in the 8. All I want from Bruno, while he's playing in that 8 position, all I want from him is a bit of intensity. I want him to tackle. I want him to be a leader. I know he's playing at 8. I just want him to know what he's doing. He runs around like a headless chicken. He just has no idea. And I've said this before: the Liverpool captain, the United captain, they're more than players on the pitch. They are more than the players. They should embody what this club means. And Bruno as captain is the worst thing that's happened to this club, in my opinion, in probably the last 10 years. I really rate his captaincy so badly that I would give it back to Maguire. I really would. I think he's absolutely an embarrassment. I think he's disgusting. And if I was him, I would take off that armband and I'd give it to somebody else. because I think what he's doing right now is disgusting. So look, let's get on to the players. I'll read some of these comments as well. I don't care if Amorim wants to keep his job. If the system he employs doesn't work, he'll be sacked. He just needs to find a way to win. It's simple. Liam, great comment, my friend. Yes, Dorgu is terrible. Come on, what an experienced player playing for us. Just running around the pitch. We need these vibrant players, please. Wonder what makes his eye twitch more. People keep saying we need a wing back. I need to understand what a wing back is. Is the position a converted wing back or an attacking fullback? Liam, I think that's a very, very intelligent comment, my friend. Sir Jim's probably wondering which of the canteen staff he can sack. Imagine if he put Shaw. I'm not going to say the P word. He would go with Dino. De Ligt is the only one. I agree with you. Running around the room screaming, "Pretty bird, pretty bird." QWERTY says, "What an embarrassment losing to a team with 10 men." I agree with you. You're not going to get any disagreement here. How many years would you say when United were a team together? I would probably say I think you probably got to go back. Like, I think you probably got to go back to. You could argue winning the Europa League with Jose Mourinho was a semi team. But you've got to go back. You've got to go back to Fergie. I mean, you've got to go back to Fergie. I mean, the moment that Fergie left, that was gone. The moment that we got rid of those players, I think Moyes had a hand in destroying this club as well. I don't think we've been a proper team since Fergie left. Yeah. Shaw is old. He can't defend anymore. He's joking over there. We need more defenders and a midfielder. Shesko is a good player, but the situation has killed his qualities. I would make De Ligt captain next. Liam, the perfect example of the wing back is Hakimi. Just watch what he does. I don't think anyone actually understands what they want when they say we need wing backs. I think that's a good point. Do we do? I don't. It's difficult. It's difficult, right? Because you want an offensive wing back with defensive qualities, or do you want a defensive wing back with offensive qualities? I don't really think you can have both. I think that you almost you're never going to get that all-round wing back. So it's a case of, do you want more of an attacking wing back who can run back and defensively they're okay? Or do you want a defensive monster who's good at going forward, but they're better at coming back? No, it's on Amorim. We walked into the season thinking Bruno and Casemiro would hold a two-man midfield. Premier League, absolute insanity. Steve, I never thought that, my friend. Go back. I watched the pre-season. I've been saying this. I said that I will die on this hill that Bruno Fernandes will sack him. I felt Fergie left the team crumbled to a point where we don't recognise it anymore. You agree with Liam? Manu says Shesko flies. He's so good scoring in the air. I love that. No one will give him the crosses he needs to score. He's suffering there. Shesko, I believe, would have scored tonight. Perfect game for Shesko tonight. So let's go on to scores. So let's do scores for the game. You give me your scores. Marks out of 10. 6 being an average score. Well, I'd say 6. 6 is an average score, right? You could say 6 that they played well. Lamens for me, 5. I think he could have done better think he could have done better on the shot. I think Pickford saves that as well. I think he looked nervous. I still think he's accomplished. I do. I think he comes for balls. That sounds so wrong, doesn't it? He comes for a cross. He's confident. Right? I feel more comfortable with him in goal. He's a young lad. He's got all that crap in front of him today. I'll give him a 5 because look, I don't think he necessarily did anything wrong today. He didn't face that many shots. I think he looks accomplished. Other than that shot, I don't think he did anything wrong. So for me, I'd give him a 5. Dorgu for me today. I'd give Dorgu I'd probably give Dorgu a 4. I'd probably say Dorgu a 4 for me. Look, I'm not necessarily going to go mental on these players. I think Dorgu is a 4 because look, Dorgu for me going forward, I thought he got caught out many times. Going forward, he didn't offer a lot. Coming back, he didn't offer a lot. I thought he lost the ball too many times. Intensity is with him. I don't think intensity is a problem, right? I think what is a problem of his is it's almost like, imagine you've got a wind-up car, right? You wind up the car to full blast and you leave it go, right? It doesn't know. It just goes where it wants to go. Dorgu is very much like that. He's very pacey. He's quite broad, but he doesn't know what he's doing. He's literally just got pace. Like but today he didn't even really show that pace today. Turn that on a bit. Like that. So Dorgu today, like he didn't really show that much. So look, physically Dorgu, I don't have a problem with him, but I just think that positional sense just isn't there. I don't know. Is he more of a defensive wing back, full back? I don't know. Offensively, he's terrible. He can't really cross a ball. So I would give him a 4 today. I think there are worse players than him, by the way. But I did think he wasn't great today. Let's have a little look. Let's get in there. What are you guys saying? So we've got Dorgu with a 4 when he's a 2. Interesting. Everyone but Ahmad is a 2. Not a bad game, just a poor save. He doesn't know doing the final third. He can't score. Dylan says a 3. Lamens was a 5. Wingbacks have to score. Dorgu is a headless chicken. We need an overall in each position. Dorgu was absolute garbage. Need that. I'm not saying the P word. So for me, Dorgu, you can argue Dorgu is a 2 or 3, but look, I'm not going to be OTT about it. Luke Shaw for me today. What was Luke Shaw for me today? Luke Shaw. I'll say it. I'll say it when it comes to the P word, right? Luke Shaw today, for me, the chance Luke Dorgu had at the back had to be on target at least. Luke Shaw today, says Niche Fan, was a 3. Luke Shaw today, again, I'm not going to go OTT on Luke Shaw. I think Luke Shaw today, for me, was a 3. Luke Shaw today was a 3 today. I thought I think everybody started poorly today, and I actually thought Luke Shaw kind of played okay. There was a moment in the second half where Luke Shaw put a cruncher tackle in, and I like that. I did, but he just doesn't do anything else. He just didn't do anything else today. Do I think he was worse than Dorgu though? That's the question. That's the question for me. If I'm giving Luke Shaw a 3, then I've got to give Dorgu a 3 as well. Actually, if I'm thinking about it, if I'm giving Dorgu, if I'm giving Luke Shaw a 3. I've got to give Dorgu a 3 as well. Now, the reason why I would give Luke Shaw a 3 is because, look, Luke Shaw is a seasoned professional. Dorgu is a kid, right? Dorgu is a young guy. He's still learning his craft. So I'm going to rescind the 4. I'm going to give Dorgu a 3. I'm going to give Luke Shaw a 3 as well. I thought Luke Shaw needs to go. I've been banging on. I've been saying this all season. Nobody listens to me. I know people. I know people like Luke Shaw. I've been saying this since pre-season. I need to make a compilation of me calling out Luke Shaw. I don't like this player. I thought he was fantastic, like years and years ago. Luke Shaw's done. He's done, and there's nothing really more to say. There's nothing really more to say. Liam, I agree. I agree from a technical perspective. When Luke Shaw has the ball, Luke Shaw is good with the ball, right? I agree with you as well, Ob. That Luke Shaw is good. Luke Shaw is good with the ball at his feet. No problem with that. But anything else, he can't do. So he has to go. Luke Shaw is just, he has to go. We can't have a player like that in that position. And there's talk of Amorim's even talking about putting Shaw as a left wing back. What the fuck are you doing? Like, are you seriously playing Luke Shaw? Are you seriously talking about playing Luke Shaw as a wing back? At that point, if that happens, then I've got to rethink my Amorim thing completely, because you can't play Luke Shaw as a wing back. It would be absolutely atrocious. So for me, today, 3. Euro today, I'll give Euro a 4 today. We don't have anyone JB, that's the problem. Agreed. Stephanie, legend, Stephanie, the Welsh legend of the chat. No wonder Luke Shaw is injury free. I'm faster than him. Brad says Neville's commentary was horrendous. I mean, Neville, he's so dour. I mean, you'd never think that he played for this club. He's dour. He's just, whenever he talks about this club, he's just, I don't know. I can't do it. But yeah, I can't do the accent. Yeah, I can't do that. But Euro today for me was a 4. I didn't think he was particularly good. There was some that second half. There was some things that he does that remind me of Rio Ferdinand. I don't think he's played. I don't think he's had the best of seasons this year. But there is no doubt the talent is there for me. So I'd give him a 4. The Ligt for me, I'd probably go 4.5. There were some things that I like what he does, and I do think he's always a bit of a step ahead. So today, you could probably argue that was he at fault for the goal? No. Could he have done more for the goal? I don't know. Probably not. But it all comes, from, giving the ball away as well. I don't think he had the best of games, but for me, I think 4.5. You could maybe go for a 5, but I think that will be favoritism. So I'd go for 4.5. Mazraoui for me was a 4. Again, I don't think he had a good game. Mazraoui, there's not really much to say on him, really. I think he's still coming back from injury. I don't think he looked great. You could go with a 3 for him as well. Like he's still coming back. He's still coming back. Isaac, legend, my friend. He still needs to come back. He's not a wing back. I'd much prefer him to play as a left centre back. Amorim doesn't know what he's doing with him, so I'd give him a 4. I don't think he was as bad as Dorgu. I don't think he was as bad as Shaw. Was he great? No. You could argue with 2. I mean, it's difficult. It's difficult. I mean, maybe is he a 3? Maybe, if I'm saying that Dorgu's a 3, Luke Shaw's a 3, maybe a 3. But yeah, beautiful shirt from AC Milan fans. Don't know, mate. I don't support my friend. Before I get on to the midfield, let's go through some of your comments. Euro was terrible, sadly. I don't disagree with that. Neville is absolutely is. Neville's commentary is horrible, but today we gave him ammo. I agree. I think Neville was doing his best character impression today. Jay always follow, never overtaking. I like Phil Walcott as a pundit. He should also commentate. John has the beard. The beard's gone. It's down the drain. And what's the difference between Batman and... I don't know, my friend. You tell me the difference. Delict was a 4. Euro... Yori is just a kid. Yeah, I agree with that. First pool game of the season. Let's go down. Right. So the next position. Right. Okay. I've been saving this up. Okay. So the next position. The next position. Let's talk about the next 2 positions, shall we? This video is probably going to get banned, by the way. This fucking pivot. Oh my god. I mean, I can't deal with it. I can't deal with the pivot. Pivot shit. I can't deal with it. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know what Amorim is doing. I don't know how we can feel. I don't know how we can play Bruno Fernandes and Casemiro in this fucking pivot. It baffles me. It baffles me. It baffles me. This was Bruno Fernandes's worst game. He is dog shit. I don't mind Bruno Fernandes playing in an 8, right, and having a bad game, right, as long as Bruno Fernandes does the basics: pass, shoot, intensity, drives the team. You can still have a bad game, but be all those things. Bruno today, I'm giving him a 0. I'm giving Bruno Fernandes a 0 today. He offered absolutely nothing. 50-yard balls, for what reason? Fucking Hollywood balls, I don't know why. Tackling, non-existent. No leadership. Didn't inspire a single thing. Had a shot. Well done, Bruno. You had 2 shots, and guess what, mate? You ain't scoring. Offered nothing today. Offered absolutely nothing today. He should be embarrassed. He should be embarrassed. If that was Fergie, I think Fergie would have pulled him into a room, ripped that armband off him, and told him to fuck off. Because I today, that was a disgusting performance today. Offered nothing today. It was disgusting. I've seen him put in some performances, even the 7-0, right? He is disgusting today. I don't care. I don't care. Bruno Fernandes, I want him gone. I've been saying this all season, but more than ever, I want him gone. I don't care if he scores hat-trick after hat-trick in the next 30 games or whatever it is. Piss off. Bruno, you're done. I don't care. I don't want him as a 10. I don't want him as an 8. I want him gone. I want him gone because it's not, for me, it's not the position. It's the performance. He's supposed to be the captain. Bruno can go. Casemiro, I thought was terrible, but as we've been saying, right? As we've been saying, Bruno in the pivot doesn't work. Casemiro in these games where it's open and people are attacking you and this pivot is open, Casemiro can't do anything. He can't do anything. He had a few nice touches today. There are a couple of things that he did that I thought were really. Look, there were things that Casemiro did today. There was a few little things that he does right. It's the little pass around the corners. It's the headers. It's the being aware of people around him. Yes, he gave the ball. He gave the ball away a couple of times, right? But his mind is still there. His body's not, and it just doesn't work. So look, Casemiro for me, I'd give him a. I reluctantly do give Casemiro a 3 today. It just wasn't the game for him today. It just wasn't the game. He needs. I know it is, mate. Casemiro needs support there, right? You stick Casemiro as a defensive, as a sort of sweeper, in front of a back 2 or a back 3, as a disruptor type. He's perfectly fine. This game for him is the worst sort of game for him. Better than Fernandes, awful 3. Up front, so who do we have up front today? Who's so bad, I forget. We had Mbumo and Ahmad, and Xerxes. Ahmad, I thought was a bright spark. Talk about Luke Shaw. I've already spoken about Luke Shaw. I can't do it. I will come back to the players though. Casemiro played dreadful, making schoolboy errors. Let Casemiro go on a free. He's not worth money. We have created a monster pivot. We said it, JB. We wanted him gone in the summer. We would have got over 100 million and would have signed two CMs. Tulip, we did. Tulip, we said many things in the summer. Tulip has been around for a very, very long time. And we did, Tulip. We did. We absolutely said it months and months ago. We said to sell him. I've been of this opinion that Fernandes is going to sack the manager. It's going to happen. JB, we missed Harry Maguire and Scott McTominay. Do you know what? Ironically, tonight we missed Shesko. Maguire, I actually think would have been okay tonight. Scott McTominay probably would have done okay tonight as well. I'll talk about Luke Shaw again more in a bit. We do need a left wing back, a right wing back, a 6, and a 9. We need more Luke Shaw talk. Oh, you're going to get it. Cross after cross, Slabhead would have got a goal. Shaw in the pivot. My eyes twitching. We need a team full of Luke Shaws. He's a goat. My head's going to explode in a minute. Where thing about Hannibal Mabry. Hannibal Mabry is a mate. He's not even in the conversation. Imagine 11 Luke Shaws. Jesus. Night. Everyone gotta go. My pee is boiling. Steph, legend. See you soon. I love McTominay back. Shirt 11. Shaw in the 11-man pivot. Fenerbahce or Galatasaray. Look, I don't have a dog in that fight. So Mbumo today chasing down shadows wasn't his best game at all. But again, what can you do? I didn't think he had his best game at all. I don't really remember him doing anything of note. He tries his hardest. Look, the one thing about him, look, I'm going to give him a 5. Right. The reason why I give him a 5 is because he works his bollocks off. Right. Scott says, JB, I've got a question for you. Yeah, go on, JB. You have JB, you have to name your next pet Luke after the goat. The thing is, though, if I named my next pet Luke, it wouldn't survive the night. Let's just put it that way. It wouldn't survive the night. Bruno and Casa in the pivot, or Shaw and Dalot in the pivot. Bruno and Casemiro, because Luke Shaw would be so much worse. Luke Shaw would be like, you might as well put a cardboard cutout of Luke Shaw. That would be better than Luke Shaw. And Burma kept coming towards the ball rather than running beyond Xerxes. That was frustrating. Agreed. Look, nobody was good tonight, but as I say, what I like about certain players, even if they're not playing well, they still give you what they've got. So for me, look, you can argue he's a 4 tonight, maybe he's a 4.5. I boost him up. I'd boost him to a 4.5 purely because of the fact that he runs around. Ahmad today for me was a 5. I thought easily he was our best player. Look, again, not his best game, but what's he supposed to do? I mean, he went to right wing back like he was a number 10. Now, Ahmad for me right now is the epitome of, you ask a player to do a job. JB, what rhymes with rivet, and we need to fix in our team? What rhymes with rivet and need to fix it in our team? I don't know. There's many words. There are many words that rhyme with that. So for me, Ahmad for me is a 5. I'm giving him a 5. Ahmad for me was the man of the match for us. Nobody is the man of the match. I thought Ahmad was our best player today. I think he's consistently our best player. Number 10, wing back, doesn't moan, doesn't whinge. So for me, he's a 5. Shesko 4. Pointless. Shesko, absolutely pointless today. It just goes to show the lack of depth. I would rather have brought OB on and played him today. Xerxes was pointless today. Absolutely pointless. I don't see the point. JB has sure PTSD. Pointless. So what do I score Amorim today? What would I score him? Shesko getting a 4 is good. He can, yeah. Shesko for me today gets a 5 because he's fantastic. No, Xerxes today gets a 4 from me. In fact, I'd argue with 3. I'd give him a 3. I thought Shesko he was a 7 today because he didn't basically play today. A 3 for me, I think. Xerxes was pointless. Xerxes was 3. I agree, mate. Irwin was always a 7 or an 8. Irwin was again. Paul Parker today was a 7. Pallister was a 7. Cantona was a 7 today. CR7 was a man of the match. He was man of the match today. What do I give the manager today? I've got to give him a 2 today. I've got to give him a 2. You can give him a lollipop. Amorim for me today gets a 2. And I don't know why, in terms of, he could have had a 1, could have had a 0. As much as I don't think these players are his players, and as much as I blame these players, the problem is the pivot. If only our pivot could be pivoting like JB's pivot. So elegantly pivoting from one topic to the next, the pivoting pro, J pivot B. I love, yeah, I am pivoting from most things. Dino, that's at least 5 pivots, mate. Amarin gets a choc ice from Safeways. Bloody hell. Do Safeways even still exist? Safeway. Yeah, wasn't Safeway Gateway as well? Wasn't it Gateway and then Safeways? Bloody hell. Jesus. Was there a shop called Quick Save as well? I'm sure there was a shop called Quick Save. That was basically like a Poundland, but was probably, well, Poundland is now about 84 Poundland. Safeways it is, mate. It is. I remember Safeways. Quick Saves, yeah. You know, I look, mate. I'm pretty old as well. Quick Save was Gateway. See, I'm old as hell. I am. You don't realise how hard it is being trying to keep up with you pivot counters. Pivot. Amarin for me today, baffling again. Baffling decisions. You know, part of me is I can't really blame him. Nicky T says safe Rovers Prestos. Amarin has to get a 1. Can't forgive playing 3 centre backs against 1 striker with a team with 10 men. Woolworths, yeah, but that's not that old. And Liam, look, I don't disagree. I think today his formation was wrong. I think you're right, playing a back 3 against a single striker. Why wouldn't you? In my opinion, why wouldn't you go and get a man in the midfield? It was awful today. Amarin has to take a lot of the blame today. Amarin doesn't seem to sink into his brain. And original, you're right, Amarin has the same IQ as the rest of the players. I don't understand. I don't understand right now what Amorim is doing. They play 1 game a week. What is he doing? What is he not doing with these players? I don't get it. You know, where he can't be blamed for the players that he's accumulated, but he now has to start being blamed for the formations that he's putting out. You know, you're a coach, you're a manager, right? Manage this team. Manage this team in a way that gets you results, so you can get to the end of the season and get more players. It's simple as me. Look, as Liam says, you know, he's a man of his principles. That's fine. You know, I've got no problem with a man, you know, of his principles, but then he's got to accept that he's going to get sacked. It's as simple as that. He's going to get sacked. If he keeps playing like this, you know, we've got Palace next week. We're not beating Palace. It's as simple as that. We're not beating Palace next week. So that's possibly 2 games, maybe a draw. So that's 1 point. That's 1 point from 6 games. He's going to get sacked. He's going to get sacked for Fernandez, mate. Scott says, I used to rob Pokemon cards from Woolies back in the day. Mate, you can still get done for historic crimes, mate. You know, so you need to be careful. You know, Nintendo will absolutely be banging down your door. You just got to be careful, mate. Amarin will fall in his sword, and it seems the players are happy. Look, Dino, we all know these players are scumbags. We all know these players will happily sack a coach. I'd even argue that some of them are down tools. Again, JB, if Amarin got sacked, would you take Sean Dyche, Big Sam, or Nuno? Let me answer that question, right? simple as this, right? Is that this? I am not a snob to get a coach in who's somebody like that. Big Sam, no. The problem that I've got with that is, what do we want to be? If we get Sean Dyche or a Nuno, we are accepting that we are a mid-table team, right? If that's what we are, that is what we are. But we all need to accept that. If we go get a Sean Dyche, I think he's a good coach. If we get a Sean Dyche, what we are saying is we have become a mid-table team, and then we can't have this conversation of finishing fourth anymore. We can't have these. We can't have these conversations. I want to win the Premier League every single season. I demand that we win the Premier League every single season. It's just not going to happen, right? It is not going to happen, because I want to keep these standards high, right? The problem with me is not the coaches. I think they're fantastic. You look at what he's doing at Forest, right? You look at Sean Dyche doing some amazing stuff, right? But if we want to get top four, and if we want to be that club again, you have to go for the best of the best. I've got no problem in taking those coaches if we're being honest and we're saying to ourselves, we're going to be a mid-table team, and that's all we're going to be. Steve said, Eddie Howe, I'd go get him. Obi says, I'm terrified for the AFCON. Amon clearly feels 3-4-2-1 is fluid. I can adapt to any situation. I agree with you. JB can do the pivot with his tripod. Sean Dyche and both have history of fixing broken squads, health and safety. Nuno built Forest. He can have a high visibility vest on and a hard hat. Be sweet. So look, guys, I am going to go 2 hours. That is ridiculous. Absolutely crazy. But look, thank you for being here tonight. We've been doing this since 8 o'clock tonight. In fact, half 7 tonight. So look, amazing shows. One more time for the chat. Pivot. This pivot is frigging annoying. I hate the pivot. I do like to pivot between different things. I just can't stand a pivot now. So look, fantastic show. Look, I'm glad. Dino, never be sorry. It's funny. Never be sorry, my friend. Look, guys, thank you for doing the watch along as well. It was painful. Awful game of football. One of the worst that I've seen. JB will wake up screaming pivot in his sleep. JB, your intro song for this channel should be about pivots. I need to make up a song, don't I? I should get a shirt. I might put pivot on the back of my shirt, to be fair. It is atrocious game today. Probably one of the worst I've seen. Only probably the worst game for me was the Grimsby game. But again, this is not too far behind. We saw a team bereft of confidence, any ideas. We saw a manager who has no idea at all. I don't think he knows what to do. I think these players are going to down tools. They're not playing for him anymore. And these next 9 games are going to be horrendous. So it does sound like a franchise. Pivot FC. Every chat now has to start with a pivot corner chat. It does. We need to start. We need a counter, JB. We need counselling, mate. That's what we need. So look, guys, amazing show as always. Thank you for being here so much. Thank you for just helping me through this. It's ridiculous. I fear for us. Amorim, I fear for where it's going to go. I don't know where he's going to go. I don't know how this is. Thanks for tuning in. The stream was sponsored by Pivots. Learn about pivots today. Pivot counters to the rescue. Pivots. I hate pivots. I can't stand them. The worst things in life right now are Luke Shaw and pivots. those two in any order. I wish Luke Shaw would pivot off. But let's see. So look, guys, I'll be back tomorrow. Thank you for being on the stream. You guys are legends. The show is sponsored by Pivots. If you don't know what pivots are, then basically you need to go to Amorim, because he doesn't know what a pivot is either. Champers, pivots, bro. I do love pivots. Absolutely amazing champers. Legends, guys. I'm going to go get some sleep. I'm going to dream about pivots. You guys, I'll be back tomorrow. You're all legends of this chat. Thank you for making this evening entertaining, happier than it needs to be. We need to make a champers called Pivot. Pivot. And I'll be back tomorrow. So look, guys, we'll go through this again tomorrow. We'll have a sleep and then we'll talk about this nonsense again tomorrow. So look, guys, have a fantastic rest of your morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you are in the world. I'm JB. This is the United Devil channel, Pivot. And I will be back tomorrow. So guys, thank you for being here and I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one. Take care, guys.